Hey folks, this is John Peniel on the John Peniel Show, and it's another beautiful day here on the South Hill of Spokane, Washington. The sun is out, and it's another glorious day which God's created. So, this is part 3 of my ongoing show called The Ascension Symptoms. What are they and how to cope with them? And I've already made 2 other shows on this. The first show I made was on Facebook, and the second show was on YouTube, and from now on I'm making them on YouTube. Okay, so Ascension Symptoms, let's recap. Let's just put it this way. There are a growing number of people, they're numbering by the thousands, maybe millions throughout the world. They tend to have this one thing in common. They're very sensitive to energy. They're very spiritually inclined. And they're all suffering these physical symptoms, these curious physical symptoms, which have been ongoing for a number of months, due to a lot of solar activity that's been ongoing, and to other cosmic radiation, and to a curious natural phenomenon, which is called the Schumann resonance. No, the Schumann resonance is a fancy name for basically the heartbeat of the Earth. The Earth has a heartbeat, basically. It has an electromagnetic heartbeat. Just like human beings and animals have a heartbeat. Like the average human being has a heartbeat of 72 beats a minute, thereabouts. Animals have an average heartbeat rate of whatever. Well, the Earth has an electromagnetic pulsing beat. And basically, this electromagnetic pulse of the Earth, if you want to call it that, is very much influenced by what's going on in the sun and cosmic cosmic radiation. Now, in the times past, this Earth heartbeat, electromagnetic Earth, heartbeat. I get my words tied up. Was at a particular frequency. It was at a certain base frequency, and it never changed. It's always the same. It was at 7.83 hertz frequency. That was the base frequency of the Earth, or the Schumann resonance. And that had been going on for a long time. It was just always 7.83. Well, that's all started to change slowly but surely about 3 or 4 years ago. But especially over the past 5, 6, 7, or 8 months, the Schumann resonance has spiked humongously. It is spiking constantly, almost every day. It's not 7.83 anymore. I'm not a scientist, but I've heard people say it's going up to 30, up to 40, 4, 5, 6 times higher than it. That's, to use an analogy, it's just like saying that the human heartbeat, which is 72 beats a minute, as all of a sudden it's going up to 5 times higher than it normally is, 350 beats a minute. Well, you can't survive in 350 beats a minute. That's just way too fast. That's insane. No one's ever... Well, that's what the Earth is going through. And it's going through that because the Schumann resonance is affected by some certain factors. For one, the magnetosphere of the Earth, which is the protective magnetic layer surrounding the Earth, which protects us from the cosmic radiation, that has been weakened over the past several months or maybe several years. Well, since it's been weakened, it's made Earth vulnerable to more radiation coming from the sun and from other sources out in space. And as a result, that spikes up the Schumann resonance because more energy is coming in, And there we have it. And what happens when this happens is that people start feeling some weird physical, mental symptoms. More of a physical. It ranges from high blood pressure spikes to massive headaches out of the blue to vertigo, where you're walking, all of a sudden you're just dizzy, you can't even see straight. To all of a sudden feeling like your body is just is massively low on blood sugar all of a sudden, to feeling really nervous, extremely nervous, where your nerves are tingling all over, all over your body, to, you name it, decrease in body temperature, which is from 98 to sometimes to 95 degrees or 94 degrees. Then it shoots back up to 97 or 98. I mean, I can go on and on and on. It goes on and on and on. Nausea is another big one. Nausea, just feeling really pukey, really odd and queasy in the body. All sorts of symptoms. I mean, it goes. It's literally, it's endless. And all these people are going through these people who are sensitive to energy, and they're spiritually inclined people. Now, I've said in previous shows that this energy is actually a good thing, because energy coming from the sun is what's happening is that this energy, there are codes encoded in this light. These are high vibrational codes put in there by the creator of the universe. And so it's impacting the earth, it's going into the DNA of people, and it's upgrading the DNA of people. Even people who aren't sensitive to energy, who aren't feeling these symptoms, if they're basically good people, but they're not like super spiritually inclined or anything, but they're doing the right thing, they're compassionate, but they're not like spiritual warriors or anything like that, they're getting upgraded too. Their DNA is getting upgraded by this energy, by this solar radiation. As I said in my last show, a big cause of the solar radiation is a thing called CMEs, which means coronal mass ejections, which is when on occasion the sun will erupt and out a big ball of plasma, and the plasma just shoots right here to Earth and hits the Earth. And when that happens, it wreaks havoc on people who are spiritually or sensitive, or who are sensitive to energy, like you went Blade. But there are ways to cope with it. I said that in my last show, how you can cope with this, and I will get into that in more in depth, and how you can do that. Okay, so how can you cope with these? If you're going through these symptoms, if you feel like, just out, because normally, this will freak people out. You're just fine one day, and all of a sudden, this stuff hits you. And this stuff was really starting to hit about 6, 7, or 8 months ago, big time. And if you're going through these things, it may feel like there's something seriously physically wrong with you, to the point where you have to go into the doctor. That's understandable. If you feel like you really need to go to the doctor, then do so. I'm not going to tell you not to go to the doctor, but I would encourage you to listen to your body. Listen to what your body is telling you, what you, the real you, is telling you inside of yourself. That still small voice. And go with that. But if you need to go to the doctor, then go to the doctor. But I guarantee you, if you've never suffered these things, and all of a sudden you've just been going through this stuff, most likely you're going through Ascension Symptoms, and there's nothing physically wrong going on with you. You could go to the doctor, you could feel like you're dying, And the doctor says, there's nothing wrong with you. I did this. I did this 3.5+ years ago. Or, I was going through some Ascension symptoms at that time. And I felt like I was dying. But I went to the doctor, and the doctor said, you're good. You're fine. So there's something deeper going on here. So how can you cope with these symptoms? Well, here's a good thing you can do. I've been doing this off and on for the past couple weeks. I've been anointing myself with oil. I just don't get any kind of oil. I get pure olive oil, and make sure that it's pure olive oil. I mean, that it's unfiltered, pure olive oil, cold pressed. You want to make sure that, I think one indication to show that it's pure, that if it's kind of a greenish color, I think that's one indication. So you want to make sure it's pure olive oil, and you can put a little bit inside of a little cup. And what I did over the past several days was that I would take this oil and I would pray over it. I prayed to the God of the universe, the God who created everything. And I do that, and I consecrate the oil, and I sing psalms. I take out the Bible and I sing psalms out of the Bible. And I just sing, I sing from my soul over the oil. And then I say my intentions over the oil, that may this anointing oil, may God's Spirit work through it so that it protects me and shields me from these symptoms, so that I feel it in a more beneficial way, and so that it activates me. And what I did is I would just put my forefinger in the oil, and I would put a little bit on the crown of my head, a little bit on my mind's eye, or what's called the third eye, a little bit on my throat, and anoint my upper and lower heart. The upper heart's where your upper rib cage meets. That's where your thymus gland is. You put it right there. And then your lower heart, which is down to the middle of your chest. And your solar region, which is your solar plexus, and your sacral region, which is right below your belly button. And then your root region, which is right on your tailbone. And so I did that, and it's helping me out. I'm not suffering these symptoms as much. I'm still going through stuff, but it's helping me out. The first time I did it about a week ago, after about an hour, I felt a burning sensation going through my head and my chest. So that oil was really work. That consecrated oil really does work. And it may have different effects on you. Everybody's different. For me, at times it feels like it's really hard to explain. It feels like there's a bunch of oil inside my body that's coating inside my body and protecting me. It's really hard to explain. You may feel it a little bit differently. So you can do that. You can do, more importantly, it's really about loving your soul. It's about soul retrieval. You want to retrieve your soul. It's really about the soul. The soul is the real you. And it's about loving the God who created the soul. The God who lives in you, who lives in your soul. And God is inseparable from your soul. There's no real separation between you and God. You just have to realize it. He's the creator. He created you. He gave you the soul. And just seek after your soul. Seek after the God who created your soul. Love your soul. You got to love yourself. And that's what it's really all about. And that's what these Ascension symptoms are bringing out in people. It's bringing out a lot of forgotten things, a lot of traumas. And it's forcing people to confront their shadows, basically. Well, this is all for the purpose of loving yourself more. You need to love yourself, truly love yourself, and love the God who created you, who lives inside of you. All right, folks. I may do another show on Ascension Symptoms and how to cope with them, and speak a little more on the Schumann resonance. I'll see how. I'll just take it one day at a time on this, but I'm going to be doing 6 shows a week, except Saturday, which is I take Saturdays off. I hope this helps. I hope you're blessed by it, and may God richly bless you. Shalom and namaste.